Hi friends. So I was going to take a break after doing my pick a card reading yesterday because this past week was just all over the place. Just, so many different things that I don't normally do were on the schedule, like some stuff that's like a once a month thing or even a once a year thing. So I got really behind on like what I want to achieve each week with my 2 pick a card videos and my Saturday collective readings that I'm going to start doing. I mean, I've already done one. This will be my second one. And I wanted to do a newsletter the following week about like what we covered in these Saturday videos, just to kind of have like a different breakdown, a different perspective. Because whenever you take something from video and turn it into actual readable like newsletter content, it ends up like being more concise, So I want to cover what's going on with the new moon eclipse in Aries right now. That was another reason why I felt called to do a reading, is because I really feel like we need to just like look into this energy right now. We had the lunar eclipse about 2 weeks ago, and it kind of opened this like portal that we're able to kind of like start manifesting a future with. And then we have 2 planets in retrograde, Venus and Mercury. And then we had what else am I thinking about? Oh, the equinox. So we've gone into spring, the new year, right? That's what I was missing. I was like, what am I missing? So that happened. So that's also like the start of the new year for setting your intentions for the whole year. And then now we have this solar eclipse with the new moon in Aries. So that's once again going to be the not only this energy of kind of like closing out the last 2 weeks of like this energy where we've been able to kind of like plan forward with what we want to do for the next year. Also, I'm getting a lot of messages about this new year, this next year. So I want to do a Celtic cross layout again because I'm still working on that. And I want to kind of like go over the energy here. So the first card we have here is the present. It came out reversed, but with this particular layout, if the first card that represents our present, you turn it right side up. So I have Ace of Pentacles here. So for a lot of people, we're starting out this new like material journey. Maybe for some of you guys, you're starting a new job. I think a lot of people are focused on finances right now. I think it just makes sense with like the current climate of our economy and our government. A lot of people are worried about what to do. So we're kind of at this like new period that's like unsure. Yeah, the challenge here is 10 of Cups. It says domestic strife, broken home, shattered dreams. Yeah, that's what a lot of us are dealing with. A lot of us have already over the last 10 years like kind of said goodbye to what we thought the world was going to be. Me and my friend were discussing that recently, where it just seems like, a lot of us have already let go of the American dream. Me and my friend were watching Annie, and in the movie, so much, and it was the remake, so much of it was capitalistic, like American dream, like stuff. Like they even have a song at the beginning where they're like, if you just try hard enough, you get out of your circumstances. Like that's like kind of what the song was about. And then they continue to push that theme the whole time. This movie came out in 2014. And so me and my friend, we were just talking about how like the American dream is like dead. And many of us gave up on it like 5 or 6 years ago, whenever like you realize that there's nothing really in the job market. I mean, I see people like, I don't constantly apply for jobs. I do if I see jobs that I feel like will work for me. But for about 4 years after I got my undergrad degree, I applied to jobs like constantly. And I had like 3 to 4 interviews a week. And sometimes doing projects that were like test projects that now people have been like, let's stop doing that. So you're not seeing that as much anymore, like these unpaid projects, because it was exploitative. And so I was doing these projects, I was going to these interviews, I was making it to like 2nd, 3rd, 4th interview, and being one of the last people, like it would be between me and one other person, and the other person got chosen. That happened continuously for 4 years. And it was so bad that after the first 2 years, I decided to go back to school and get my master's degree, because I was like, maybe that'll set me apart. So I go and I get my master's degree, and then I graduate, and it's still hard to find a job. It's still difficult. And who I'm competing with are other people who have master's degrees, and then also other people who have more work experience than me who are also struggling to find a job. So it's not about like who's working hard enough and who's not working hard enough. It is the market. And so a lot of us are feeling that with that like 10 of Cups, where it's just like that dream is broken, and whenever we're worried, You know, we're supposed to read the Ace of Pentacles right side up, but it came out reversed. And, you know, I'm kind of not going to forget that because it shows like that, like instability that we're all feeling, you know, especially as things continue to get worse. So that Ten of Cups like definitely represents like where we are with that aspect. You know what I mean? A lot of people they just want, the American dream now is just like literally basic human necessities, and people are still saying that we don't deserve that or that people don't deserve that, right? So in the past here, I have Three of Swords reversed. So recovery, forgiveness, optimism, letting go of pain. I think a lot of us were feeling optimistic for a while, but now we're at this point of just giving up, you know? Because what I'm also getting in my mind too is just like housing. So many people just want to own a home. They just want to own property, and they just want to like not be bothered and not be ripped off by landlords who are going to like take their deposit and then not use it for the rental and just like not help them at all, you know? Like so many people are just tired of that. And it's been a scandal within our country for years, right? And so what are we looking at in the future? We have Six of Wands reversed, fall from grace, egotism, punishment, imposter syndrome. So that's what we have here. Six of Wands for me, like usually right side up, you can see they're kind of like, I would think like going into battle in some way, but the fact that it's reversed means that like we're feeling extremely defeated. And I think most people do feel that way. Like there's just like this defeatist attitude whenever it comes to what's been going on, because people feel like they've lost control. You know, we don't have control with what's happening. And sometimes, you know, that's another like just basic thing that people want to feel. There's a lot of things we don't have control over. You know, we don't have control over if we get a debilitating disease. We don't get control over like sometimes the circumstances we were born into, but the like even further lack of control to where like we can't even control like the most basic, like, am I going to have a place to live? Am I going to have access to food and water? Like whenever those things start to come into question, it really challenges, like, it really makes us feel defeated. You know what I mean? And that's what I get this feeling of is like in the future, we're kind of like having this like almost like defeatist like point of view, but I think that it'll be temporary. So what we have in the conscious here, so many of these cards are reversed. Wow. Page of Cups, emotional immaturity, creative blocks, insecurity. A lot of us are feeling blocked by what's going on because of the insecurity that's going on. So that's like our conscious. We are aware of that aspect, is just like being totally blocked off from and being unable to handle difficult emotions. You know what I mean? Like they come on and they're just like they're so overwhelming because of like everything that's going on. It's just like it feels like you're being hit from a million directions. We're gonna look at the subconscious now. We have King of Pentacles reversed, financially inept, stubborn, greed, indulgence, and sensuality. So I think a lot of people are not paying attention to the signs. You know, we're like literally being told that the way that we're living is not working anymore. And I think a lot of people don't want to let that go and don't want to let those systems go. And so we're dealing with this, like this situation subconsciously. And I think it's really like people just really, really still trying to hold on to the systems that are failing is really what I'm getting with that one. So this next card is going to be some advice for us. What can we do with everything that's going on? I have the Hangman. So the Hanged Man. So this is see things from a different perspective, you know? Whenever he hangs upside down from the tree, sorry, the distance is weird. He's able to see the world from a new perspective. So I think a lot of us have to let go of the way that we thought things were going to be. We already kind of have that with the Ten of Cups, that our challenge is like letting go of those dreams, those shattered dreams that we're not having anymore. And in the future, kind of like having that defeatist mindset, right? Like that's in the near future, and feeling like we've lost the battle. And, you know, that consciousness aspect of being emotionally immature about this and unable to just like take responsibility maybe, because there's still like that greedy aspect. I think a lot of people still really think that if they just make enough, that what's going on won't affect them. And we really need to stop thinking like that. And so we really need to transform into this like different perspective and have like a metamorphosis as like an entire group of like seeing things from a different perspective and not expecting different results from just doing the same things. We have external influences here. Three of Wands, expansion, foresight, progress, and rapid growth. So whenever I'm thinking of external influences, I'm thinking about other countries. And so what I think that we need to let go of when it comes to like the way that we're running things is that like the fact that it's not working, and that at this point it's like we are underdeveloping, you know, not only in the country I'm in, but also just like globally, there's a lot of underdevelopment. Whenever there was so much progress, like even just recently, there was so much progress, and then now it's like underdeveloping. And so I think that what we need to look at are other places that are still working on expansion, still working on thinking about the future. The foresight for me is like looking forward. Three of Wands also for me is like creating that foundation. So having like a solid foundation to work from, and looking at progress and looking at places that are achieving so much more than like what we're achieving. You know what I mean? Even in these like cyberspaces with technology and stuff like that, we're seeing a lot of it fail. And it's because there are other better systems. I saw somebody say, and this has stuck with me, that what this like use of these like different softwares that people do not want, they were basically like, these companies create something that nobody asked for. And it's created by people who have never worked for people who have never worked. Like, wow, it's amazing. You can summarize the 30 emails I get a day while I'm on the golf course. So I can just read them like later on in the day. These people don't actually work, right? So they think it's amazing. And then instead of like making it into a product that people can actually use, they're just like implementing it into the system and forcing people to use it so that it becomes policy. So that even if it sucks and it doesn't help anybody, nobody asked for it, nobody likes it, we're being like forced into this attitude of like, we just have to use it because that's just how things work now. And then you can see it like across the board, like not only in business, but also it's moving into government. You know, they're putting it into these systems of things that do not work, and it's, you know, for personal achievement. So whenever we're looking at other countries that are actually trying to create a product that actually works and not just have people like back something financially that isn't doing what it's supposed to be. I mean, it says like a 60% like does what it's supposed to do rate, right? So whenever we look at these other countries that are producing the product but like better, then like the product here fails, but they've already put it into a lot of systems. They've already rushed it. So then now it's like a less quality product that's been forced now puts us behind. So we're continuously being put behind these more progressive like communities and countries because of this like kind of like greedy aspect and this like financial ineptitude of like what exactly people need, because it's all being designed and run by people who like have never actually worked. So you know, it doesn't make sense. These people who have not actually earned what they have. Okay, these two cards jumped out for me. So we have our hopes and fears. I got the Lovers right side up, so I'm going to go with hopes. And we have partnership, duality, commitment, choices, harmony, trust, marriage. And so I think that what a lot of us are hoping for is a better future where we can kind of come together and like bridge these gaps that we're having with each other and look at like a new world that works for everybody. I have Mercury on this card, so I think that tells me that we need to do a little bit more learning and a little bit more communicating whenever it comes to this aspect of like how we're going to transition into this like different ideal of what American life looks like, or what just like life in general looks like. I have Seven of Wands reversed. Usually Seven of Wands right side up is someone who has defended the boundaries that they have worked really hard to establish. So it being reversed is exhaustion, overwhelm, lack of confidence. So we really need to, this is the outcome. We really need to, when thinking of this as almost like a warning, we really need to work out like how to set solid boundaries, not just like personally with ourselves, but also like with these like different systems and communities that are kind of like attacking our way of life. We really need to like consider how to approach this, you know what I mean? And how to keep boundaries. I think we need to also not lose our confidence. It says lack of confidence there. I think we really, really need to like stand tall and be part of our like our belief system. You know what I mean? Like, continue to fight for liberation for all people. That's not something that's just going to be brushed away. Like, that's something that people innately feel. I think a lot of people are not wanting to challenge those things because they still want to kind of like protect themselves, like that self-preservation. But other people don't have that benefit, you know? So we have to do it for all people, not just like ourselves or our small community or our personal family. Like, it's like we need to be advocating for this across the board. So in order to not be in that situation, I'm going to have one more card for us that's on the bottom here. I have Knight of Wands. And this is passion, energy, adventure, impulsiveness, and action. I think that we really need to just like keep pushing forward. That Knight card is about like rushing forward and making changes, right? And then Wands is what we're passionate about. So if you're passionate about this and you want to make a difference, then that's what you need to do. You need to keep going, keep pushing, not let people beat you down about it, and figure out what you're good at. People are good at different things. Not everybody can do the same thing. I can't have conversations with people who think that I'm subhuman, but my husband actually does a pretty good job of it. You know, he can have these conversations with people. He can poke holes in their logic. He can make them be like, huh, and think differently. He can use humor to make people think different things. You can tell I think very highly of my husband and his communication skills. But these are like these different aspects, right? Of like using our knowledge and using our skills in different ways. So you don't have to be good at everything. You don't have to be the one savior. You don't have to lead the activist movement, but just like figure out the small things that you are good at and see how you can utilize that, especially in your localized community. Because I think with that Hanged Man, that advice of we're gonna have to change things, we're gonna have to like stop thinking about things like so broadly. Like, yes, there's suffering worldwide and globally, and you should definitely like acknowledge that and, you know, have your moments of feeling for everybody, for sure. I think we shouldn't be numb to what's happening in the world, but I think that you should also really engage in your community of the people around you so that you guys can strengthen it and take care of each other, so that whenever we're having this like financial insecurity thing that's going on, it's not going to be as detrimental to you, because you're going to at least have your community like, hey, this person is able to help cook for other people, so we're going to go get food with them. Hey, these people, we're going to do a clothes swap so we can exchange clothes, because a lot of us can't afford to buy new clothes. Like, there's so many things that you can do community wise that is very beneficial and helpful as we're in this like really unprecedented times. So that is my reading for you today. I don't think I have anything else that's coming through, but I hope that this was helpful and kind of gives us insight into this new aspect in this new like year that we're looking at in and what is going on for us right now collectively.